this video, we're going to just get right into it and try to just do a quick energizing little flow. So we're going to start in down dog, and if you prefer to start in child's pose, of course you could always start there instead if you need a second to just collect yourself. And otherwise we'll come into down dog, maybe bending one knee, squeeze the opposite heel down, getting the hamstring a nice stretch in your straight leg. And if you drop the bent legs hip down a little bit, you might get into your IT bend as well. And then we'll switch sides, bend the opposite leg, squeeze the other heel down, stretching into the hamstrings, maybe even the calves. And again, if you drop the hip of the bent leg, you might feel a stretch through the IT bend or the outer hip area. Then you can come high onto the balls of the feet, press the hips back and up, try to lift the sit bone up to where the ceiling meets the wall. And then without losing that length in your spine, you can start to settle your heels down toward the floor, remembering that your heels can be as high away from the ground as they need to be. Your legs can also be as bent as they need to be, so that you're creating that length in the spine. And we'll take a nice long inhale here. And we'll start to move with the breath, so you can use an inhale to shift forward to plank, pausing at the top of your inhale. And then exhale to press back to your down dog. And then just take that a couple times on your own. Inhale to shift forward. And exhale to press back. And one more time. Inhale, shift forward. And then exhale, press back. And then we'll all come forward to plank together. And this time we're going to hold, so you can decide if you want to hold with your knees up or down. We just want to make sure we're not sinking in our center at all. So the tops of the thighs are lifting, the quads are working. Press your heels back as you pull your chest forward. And we'll take an inhale here, and then exhale, bend your elbows, slowly lower all the way to the floor. And then once you're there, we'll untuck the toes. We'll take our arms down by our sides so you can get out of your wrists for a bit. And then take a second to check your feet. So you want them about hips distance. Reach the big toes straight back. Press down through the tops of the feet so the knees are lifting. And then also see if you can get your pinky toe back down onto the floor. And then with an inhale, lift the head, the neck, and the chest. Roll your shoulders up away from the ground. And maybe stay right here with the fingertips tented on the floor. Or if you want a little bit more opening, you can interlace your hands, reaching the knuckles back and up. Making sure you can keep the arms straight and the shoulders rolled away from the ground. So you're better off with the fingertips down here if when you interlace, everything collapses down. And so we'll take one more inhale here. And then lower the hands to the floor, keeping the chest lifted. And you're welcome to stay right here in your cobra pose, working the strengthening along the spinal muscles. Or if you feel ready to come into your up dog, straighten into the arms, stack the shoulders on top of the wrists. Press the feet down so the legs are lifted, but let your pelvis be heavy so you're not really high with the pelvis. And then without letting your ankles roll out, you can pull up and over the toes, make your way back to your down dog. And it's only your second down dog, so if you want to walk it out again, you can. And sometimes it's just nice to settle into a still down dog. Press the hands into the floor and away from you. Imagine ripping the mat apart with the hands and the feet. And we'll take a nice long inhale here. At the bottom of your exhale, look forward and step or hop your feet to your hands. Use your inhale to lengthen your spine, shift more weight into the balls of the feet. As you exhale, fold in, let your head be heavy. We're going to just pause here and ragdoll for a little bit. So if you want to separate your feet, either for better balance or just for tightness in the hamstrings, you can separate your feet as wide as you would like, and then maybe grab opposite elbows. So I like to shift from heels to toes. You might want to sway the torso from side to side. Let your head be heavy. And try to use the weight of your head to just traction out the spine. And I always like to imagine the thoughts falling out of the top of the head here. And you can lower your hands to the floor Heel toe your feet back to at least hips distance, maybe all the way together, making sure the outer edges of your feet are parallel. And then hinging at your hips with a flat back, rise all the way up. And then exhale the hands together in front of the heart. So we're going to take it through a few suns, so you can modify them however you would like. Inhale to lift the arms. Exhale, hinging at your hips, fold in. Inhale to lengthen, the heart pulls forward. As you exhale, we'll step to plank. Once you're in plank, decide if you want your knees up or down. Exhale, bend your elbows. You can either lower all the way or catch yourself halfway. And then your inhale is either cobra or up dog. The exhale takes you back to your down dog. We'll take about 3 to 5 rounds of breath here. Maybe checking in with your hands, making sure that the wrist creases aren't turning in towards each other. You can turn your hands out as much as you would like though. And then also checking the feet, making sure the toes aren't turning out, trying to keep the outer edges of your feet parallel. And take a nice long inhale. At the bottom of your exhale, look forward and step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale to fold in. Hinge at your hips, rise all the way up. And exhale the hands together in front of the heart. And we'll take that again. Inhale, lift the arms. And exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step back to your plank unless you're jumping to chaturanga. Exhale to bend. Inhale to your back bend. And then exhale, back to your down dog. A couple rounds of breath. And our sun salutes help to warm up the body. And we take it in a whole bunch of different directions, building both strength and openness. And it's also a way to connect to our breath. And one more inhale. And then looking forward, feet to hands. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hinge at your hips. Rise all the way up. And then exhale the hands together in front of the heart. One more time. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen. And then exhale, make your way to chaturanga, keeping your legs working as you get there. Shoulders don't dip below the elbows. Inhaling to your up dog. And then exhale, back to your down dog. From here, we'll lift high onto the balls of the feet, look forward, step the right foot forward. You can help it all the way to the front edge of the mat, and then I like to lift my hands up onto blocks. If you want more work right away, you could just hover your hands a block's distance from the floor. Okay, and then make sure the right knee is stacked right on top of the right ankle. It's not in front of it, it's not behind it, and then it's tracking in line with the second toe, so it's not buckling in or out. Drive back with your left heel, squeeze your left quad. From the left heel to the crown of the head, get a little bit longer. And then hug the outer hips into the midline and feel that lift through your belly. Couple rounds of breath here, warming into the legs a bit. And then we're going to straighten the right leg. So I have more open hamstrings, so I don't need to do much adjusting, but if you're tighter, you could shorten your stance, maybe tent the fingers up on the blocks. Right? If you're more open, even if you don't need to adjust anything, it is nice to have the wrists under the elbows, or the wrists under the shoulders, so you can keep your chest open. You pin the right hip back, root down through the right big toe mound. Use your inhale to lengthen your spine. And then if you can keep all of this, then maybe start to fold in. And taking a few rounds of breath here. And then we'll rebend the front leg. Make sure you feel steady. So we're going to lift a high lunge. So you might want to heel toe the right foot off to the right a little bit so you're not at a tightrope. And maybe hop the left foot up a bit if you need a little bit more stability. We'll take the hands to the hips, and as you lift, we want to bend our back leg. With the back leg bent, zip up through the low belly, or you can imagine there's a weight hanging from your tailbone, so your pelvis is completely upright. Without letting it tip onto the front leg, can you press your left heel back a little bit, trying to get that opening through the front of your left leg. And it can be nice to keep the hands on the pelvis so you know what it's doing, or you can inhale, lift the arms up, finding just a little bit of heart opening, so the shoulder blades are lifting the heart, but without coming into this big back bend. Right? It's an unhealthy back bend because we're just bending where the spine shifts direction. So we're pulling the front ribs in, lifting the shoulder blades up. Hug the outer hips into the midline, scissor your inner thighs towards each other, and then if you want to play with your balance, you can shift your gaze up, press your hands, and then exhale your hands to the floor. Set the blocks off to the side if you use them. Step to your plank and decide if you want a vinyasa. And once you get to your down dog, just take a few rounds of breath here. And we notice the difference between the legs. And then we'll lift high onto the balls of the feet, look forward, step the left foot forward. You can again lift your hands up onto your blocks, or if you want more work, you could just hover your hands a block's distance from the floor. And then check in with the front leg. We want our knee right on top of the ankle and in line with the second toe. Drive back with your right heel, squeeze the right quad. Hug the outer hips into the midline, and then feel the lift of the belly. And then find a little bit more space. Press the right heel back as you pull your chest forward. Couple rounds of breath here, again, starting to wake up the legs some more. And then we'll straighten the left leg. Decide if you want to make any adjustments, maybe just moving the hands back so you can keep your chest open. Scissor your inner thighs, hugging the outer hips in. And I always peel my toes up because then I don't tip to the outer edge of the foot. So as soon as you lift your toes up, you'll stay grounded through the big toe mound, which is the part of the ball of the foot that's right underneath your big toe. And if you haven't lengthened your spine yet, go ahead and lengthen, and then maybe fold in. Okay, and then we'll rebend the front leg. Again, make any adjustments with your feet that you need to so you're not just dealing with balance while you're here. Take your hands to your hips, lift the torso upright, bend your back leg. With your back leg bent, you could this time imagine that your pelvis is a bowl filled with water, and none of that water is going to spill onto the front leg. So without letting the pelvis tip forward, maybe you can press the right heel back, feeling that stretch through the front of your right leg. And then again, either keep your hands by your pelvis, you can tell what's happening, or inhale and lift the arms up. Reach up through the fingertips so the arms are straight, the palms face each other. Feel the sternum lifting but without puffing the front ribs. Take another round of breath here, and then maybe shift the gaze up, press your hands, exhale the hands back to the floor. Set your blocks off to the side. You can step to your plank and decide if you want a vinyasa. And we'll take a couple rounds of breath here. Finding your even, steady breath, soft, steady gaze. And then shift the gaze forward, step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold in. Hinge at your hips, rise all the way up. And exhale the hands together in front of the heart. Okay, so we're going to take it through Surya Namaskar B, which includes 3 vinyasas. You can skip any or all of them. Okay, bend your knees, lift your arms coming into chair pose. Exhale the hands to the floor, fold in. Inhale, lengthen, pull the heart forward. The exhale is chaturanga, so you can jump there, or you can step to your plank and lower down. Inhale to your back bend, either cobra or up dog, and exhale back to down dog. From your down dog, step the right foot up, plant your back foot down. One long inhale to lift up, warrior one. One long exhale to come back down, either through a vinyasa, or again, you can skip it and go straight to your down dog. And once you arrive in your down dog, step the left foot forward, plant the back foot down. One long inhale to lift up, long exhale to come all the way back down. Again, either through the vinyasa or straight to down dog. And then once you get to down dog, taking a couple rounds of breath, trying to find steady breath and a steady gaze. We'll lift high onto the balls of the feet. Look forward, step your right foot forward. We'll again lift our hands up onto our blocks. Just take a second to set your lunge, same as you did earlier. And then you can hug the outer hips in a little bit more. Maybe take the hands together in front of the heart this time. Or if you want even more, you can reach your arms forward. Extend through the fingertips, biceps spin up. And then we're gonna slowly start to shift more and more weight forward so you can straighten the right leg. Maybe taking the hands together in front of the heart, or you can even lower your hands to your blocks if you want to back off a bit. Hug the outer hips in just like you were doing in your lunge. Spin the left inner thigh up so your kneecap points straight down. Press through the left heel, pull forward with the chest. Nice long inhale here. And then very slowly bend the right leg. Find the back edge of the mat with your left foot. Once you're there, we're going to lift our torso upright, bend your back leg, take an inhale, maybe lift the arms, maybe straighten the back leg a bit, shift your gaze up, exhale the hands back to the floor, and the vinyasa is always optional. You can take it or you can leave it and just press back to your down dog. And we'll take that onto the other side. Lift high onto the balls of the feet. Look forward, step your left foot forward. We'll hop our hands onto the blocks. Take a second to set your lunge. So a nice straight line from the back heel to the crown of the head. Hug the outer hips in. Lift the low belly. Once you've found that stability, maybe you can take your hands to your heart. And if it'll work for the low back and the shoulders, maybe reach the arms forward. Right, so you're halfway to warrior three already. Just start to shift more weight forward into your left foot, lift the right leg, and then you can do whatever you need to with your arms to keep alignment everywhere else. Press through the right heel or the ball of the right foot, squeeze the quad, pull your chest forward, and keep hugging the outer hips in, lifting through the low belly. And then very slowly, bend your left leg, find the back edge of the mat with your right foot. Once it's landed, lift the torso upright, hands to hips, bend the back leg, lift the pelvis up, maybe lift the arms, press the right heel back, take a nice long inhale, shift your gaze up if you want to play with balance, press the hands, and then exhale, hands to the floor. Step to your plank for one last vinyasa if you want it. or step straight to your down dog. Couple rounds of breath here. Lengthening from the wrist to the sit bones, and then from the sit bones down to the heels. And then we'll lower the knees to the floor. You can bring your big toes together, press your hips back to your heels, coming into your child's pose, maybe resting the forehead on the floor or the stack of your hands or a block if you need to. And then when you're ready, you can press yourself up. I hope you feel energized after that quick, invigorating practice. Namaste.